What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite truck driver, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It's Bitcoin Ben, here to invite you to our weekly Friday owner's call. Now, what the owner's call is it's a call that I and some of my associates actually do with our current and our prospective owners of our clubs, where we give you the information, answer the questions that you have on what's going on with your club you own right now, or what are the investment opportunities of owning a piece of the club. If you're interested in owning a share or a piece of our clubs, our resorts, our bank, our future airline we're launching, our decentralized private jet company, get on board, guys. Everyone's moving in to the decentralized economy. Join now, and at least join the owner's call. It's easy peasy. You get all the information you need. You can ask all the questions you want, and it's very simple. Give us a call or send us a text right now at 941-391-3882. It's right here. 941-391-3882. Love you guys, and I will see you guys later. Give us a call. Bye-bye. Good morning, you crazy-ass fucking crypto people. Welcome to the show. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most crooked industries, and I say industries on purpose, because it's the Federal Reserve. Remember, let's all be honest, it ain't federal, and they ain't got no reserves. It was a lie from the beginning. It was a entity that was created so they can manipulate the currency. And if you can manipulate the currency, then you can manipulate the economy. And if you can manipulate the economy, you can manipulate all of the people in the economy. Are you seeing a trend here? Seems like everything that they have created is used to manipulate. Now, what they've added on is the mainstream media. Bloomberg, CNBC, all the good little lapdogs of the Federal Reserve, because they know what we know. Your perception is your reality. If you have an entity, a accredited entity, explaining, well, the Federal Reserve is this, or the Federal Reserve adjusts interest rates. Let's look at that for a second. If you have the power to adjust the interest rate, then you have the power to, say it with me, manipulate currency. Because what is interest rate? It is the price of the money. When you head out and you get a loan, what do you look for? Your interest rate. Why? Because that is the cost, the price of the money you're going to borrow. Now, the Federal Reserve, they actually have one price. And then you have layers of a higher price up and up and up until it reaches you. All of those layers of higher interest rate are what we call, I guess you'd call it more of a money exchanger. Gee, didn't Jesus flip something over about that? I think so. I'll Google it later. Yeah, so the money exchangers, what they do is That's how the Federal Reserve pays all of their cronies, because that's what we call the financial system. Well, all of the banks, JP Morgan, your local credit union, they make their cash off of the extra interest rate that they charge you over the Federal Reserve's rate. That's where they make all their money at. Because see, you cannot go and get a loan from the Federal Reserve. Only accredited banks, only approved banks, which means what? Yes, they are the gatekeepers to the financial system. And remember what George Carlin once told us. It's a huge club. Just you ain't in it. That's because you're the product. You're, as they call you, you're the dumb money. You're the lady or the guy out there working a regular job, just trying to pay his bills, her bills. They're just trying to live their lives, and we have leeches on us. Those leeches are the Federal Reserve. They are the banks. They are all of these entities that actually make money off of your labor. And see, they have to keep you poor. Why do you think that the elites, the wealthy individuals, the bankers, why do you think they've never educated you or even offered an education, really, of actually making genuine wealth? Let's look at a lot of the entrepreneurs who left college and didn't actually became wealthy. The college, it actually doesn't teach you how to actually get wealthy and rich. What it teaches you is how to play inside their system, because you have to actually get a license to participate in their system. What does that license represent? Oh, you've learned how we screw everybody. Welcome to the club. You're now in the club because you actually paid a shit ton of money. You went to university, and we have educated you on our criminal system. Come on aboard, and we will flow you some money that you didn't really earn. All you did was swap this for that and that for this and this and that. Now, that's all bullshit, because the financial system doesn't produce jack shit. All they do is they charge you to sell this and buy this. That's it? Yeah. Well, what if you have a decentralized economy where you can sell and buy on an app? Yeah, well, an app, of course, they're going to charge you a fee, but they're not going to charge you 11%. They're going to charge you 15 friggin' percent. See, that's why, heads up, I leave for El Salvador today, right after the show. Got a lot of business down there with the Capital Company and the hotel. Lots going on in El Salvador. I digress. This is why and how they created the system. Because, have you ever watched Bloomberg? Have you ever seen every time the government issues numbers or something like that, that they say the numbers are this, and it didn't meet expectations, so the market drops because it didn't actually meet what we expected it to meet. Let's think about that. All right. So you have a group of economists over here who are like, we think that the jobs number should be this. Then the reality, now let's question if that government information is accurate at all, because I think it's all bullshit. But the government numbers come out, or Apple actually has an announcement and they roll out their numbers. And they say, Apple did not hit economists' expectations. Okay, so they're basically saying our expectations, our opinion is more valuable than the real information. That's like, that makes no sense. So what you guys think it should be is not accurate. The accurate numbers are accurate, but you're phrasing it like the accurate numbers missed expectations, which is real, right? This is the problem. One of the problems with our system is they tell us, well, us experts, how did that go with the coronavirus? All those experts and the chop. Yeah, that's going great. Hey, shout out to RFK. I know you watch my show. Well, I don't know that. I'm assuming because you're smart. Okay, let's jump in here. All right. We have the Federal Reserve, Fed, as we lovingly call them. Then we have the federal government. All right. Today, in fact, it should be out already. The government, because Trump had actually gotten rid of one of the ladies who was producing the numbers for the federal government. The Bureau of Economic Reporting or something like that. Yeah, they were lying. Actually, during the whole Joe Biden presidency, they were lying how good the economy was or all that. Absolute lies. So Trump's administration is actually putting out a report with accurate numbers. Now, are they exactly accurate? I don't think so. But the information they're actually putting out is not good. So I'm assuming it's accurate. Because if Trump wanted to hype up his presidency, he wouldn't be putting out negative numbers. Now, they're revising estimates from last year, right? 1 year. They said we lost approximately X number of jobs. In reality, they're revising it down $800,000 jobs. That seems like a lot, doesn't it? $800,000 jobs. They got wrong, right? This is not the whole number of jobs that have been lost. That's what they were incorrect on. So they missed it. And according to the past numbers, they missed it by 60%. What if at your job, 60% of the time you were wrong? I guarantee there's a 100% chance that your ass would be part of this number. You'd be unemployed. Why is it okay for the federal government? Because let's really throw it all out here, guys. The federal government is actually doing exactly what the Federal Reserve is doing. They're giving you absolutely made up numbers because, right, the federal government every week or every month, they send out what is actually called the Federal Job Survey. So they email, they email a group of companies, not all of them, right? Just a certain group that they email each week. I wonder how they actually choose which companies they're going to get this survey from. I'm sure it's random. I'm sure. But so they accumulate all of this data. Mind you, not everyone responds to the survey. Apparently, they get about 60-something% response rate. So we're asking for information. Now, remember, this is an opinion poll. An opinion. They're actually basing all of their information they send out to the people and to the markets on an opinion poll. Right. So let's say, I'm a perfect example. Let's say they send me an email and they say, Ben, how do you feel about the next half of the year? Well, maybe I'm having a really bad day that day. Maybe I got some news. Maybe I think Bitcoin is going to go down. Maybe I think the economy is going to grow. Maybe this, maybe that. But that's all actually based on my perception of my business and my industry. It's my opinion. What if I had a horrible day and I just said, you know what? I don't want to take this survey. I'm going to choose number 1, number 5, number 7, number 2, number 1, number 5, so number 7. And I just randomly answer all of these questions. It's off of my opinion. Then they calculate my opinion and my industry, whether I'm actually part of the farming, ag, or non-ag. Then they screw around with a bunch of numbers, and voila, they come out with a bunch of crap. Because they add weights, right? Weights, which means, do we think this information is more correct than this information? Do we think that these industries are more important than these industries? And then they have the absolute retarded ass calculation called the birth-death model. Now, that isn't actually talking if you or I actually die or we have a kid or anything. No. That actually revolves around companies. How many companies were created and how many of them shut down? Now, they don't ask that question. They have no idea. What they're doing is they're actually taking a formula, and I'm not kidding, from 1990 and applying the percentages of 1990 to today's market and assuming that this many people, this many companies were created, this many companies were destroyed. From 1990. Folks, do you remember how it was in the early 1990s? Yeah, Iraq War, Operation Let's Go Get Some Oil. They're using a model from 1990 and just using the percentages on today. I don't know if you've checked lately. I mean, check your watch and verify. It's 2025, folks. I think the global economy and the American economy has changed a little bit since 1990. That's pre-internet. So before we had the internet, they're using that creation model in federal government calculations. Of course, it's not going to be accurate. That's why Trump and his people announced they're going to put real-time economic information on what? On the blockchain. Now, what they're going to do, they've already announced it, they're going to have an app. Now, mind you, this is not perfect. This is not perfect, but this is going to be a hell of a lot more accurate, at least on the reporting end, because the app will actually, you as an owner of a business, you will download the app. And it will ask you questions. And watch for it, there will be an incentive program to report. Because they can't make you do it. That's called the First Amendment. Because remember, the First Amendment is not only to protect what you say, it protects you from saying anything. You don't have to talk. That's why when you're driving down the road and you get pulled over, you have the right to remain silent, right? And that isn't pleading the fifth. No, that is only once you're charged is pleading the fifth. When you say, I don't answer questions, that's you actually pleading the first. Because what you print and what you don't print or say is your freedom. And so all of these economic numbers are just to manipulate. That's why listen to the Federal Reserve. Every time he's up there lying through his teeth, what does he say? Inflation expectations. We are trying to manage inflation expectations. So you're not trying to manage inflation? No. We're trying to actually manipulate the emotions of the market. Thanks. I don't need my emotions manipulated. What I need is accurate information. That's why this whole system, the Federal Reserve, the Bureau of Economic Information horseshit, that's what it is. It's absolute and utter manipulation propaganda. And we now have technology. All right, what is the price of the Bitcoin right now? I don't know. Let's see if the all right, 112,194 dot. All right, it's changing accurately. You can look at it. All right, that price is that price. You go to buy it. That's what you go pay for it. Right? You go to the Federal Reserve and you're like, all right, how much is a bond? Well, you know, we do auctions and that floats and that kind of goes everywhere. But what is the return on the bond? Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of all up there. It's all fake, folks. This price here, the higher it goes, that's showing you that the rest of the system is no longer trusted. Think about that. The higher this price goes is a reflection of more and more people and entities and companies and corporations expressing they're disappointed in this shit show. Because, think about that. The federal government is issuing a report today saying that they were off by 61%, and America lost 800,000 more jobs than we thought we lost. So it's the federal government telling us that the federal government was wrong. Do we now trust this number? What do we trust? We trust information that cannot actually be manipulated. See, that's what we need to get back to. The only truth in the market is the price. Think about that. You head out and you say, I'm going to go buy a car. Well, how much is it? Well, it's $28,000, but you purchase it for $26,500. What's the true price? $26,500. But I had expectations that the price was this. Yeah, but it's not. No. What we need is real-time information. Will you ever get it? Absolutely not. Because not everything has a price. And especially in this system, when they admit their goal is to manipulate the market. The Federal Reserve was created, that's its job. Let's look at the Federal Reserve's mandate. Number one, keep prices stable. Well, our currency has went down 99% since the Federal Reserve was created. That means our currency has lost 99% of its purchasing price. Price stability. I think they failed that. All right, what's next? Jobs, unemployment. They say that their mandate is to control unemployment. Let me flip that over. Their job is to control employment. If there's an entity that can control employment, isn't that controlling labor? I don't know about you, but I don't receive a check from the Federal Reserve. So if they have the authority to control our national labor, doesn't that kind of make us slaves to the Federal Reserve? Just saying. This whole system, the Federal Reserve, was created through the progressive movement of the late 1800s to destroy the American economy. And if you do not believe me, look up an organization called the Fabian Socialists out of the London School of what? Economics. Yeah. They created the progressive movement because they realized they could not destroy America from outside. So what did they choose to do? Let's infiltrate the federal government of the United States. Now, everyone, do you remember Hoover? Do you remember McCarthyism? Where he was hunting down the communists. Yeah, because there were communists in our government. Remember, communism and progressivism is the same thing. One is the system, and one is the actions of a group that lead to the system. That's why they created the Federal Reserve. Because this has actually been a plot to take down the American economy and replace it with a war machine. And I don't just mean a war machine against other countries, which we did create. Let's all remember Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that's a funny story. Look into why or how Pearl Harbor actually happened. Same thing with 9/11. See, and more people are starting to recognize, a lot of this doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And then when you dig into it deeper, what's at the root of all of it? Oh, you can't see that word shit. Hang on a second. CIA. CIA, folks. The CIA was originally the OSS. Then they moved to the CIA. The CIA is the organized crime wing military of the intelligence agencies, of the progressive movement inside the federal government. The progressive movement created the CIA and the FBI and all of these other agencies. Remember, we didn't have any of this, right? Now, recently, Trump announced he's changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. That was the original name, was the Department of War. Why did they change it? Because they wanted to say and portray this agency is a preemptive agency. So we, the CIA, so we and the other three-letter agencies, we can actually go out and search for bad stuff. We think that these guys over here are doing bad stuff. So we're going to send in our agents that are going to work undercover and see if those bad guys are doing what we think they're doing. But look it up, folks. Look what happened on January 6th, Who were the agitators? It was the CIA and FBI plants that were the agitators of January 6th. So, because they understand how to actually manipulate a crowd. Trust me, I was there. Some of you probably remember that broadcast. No one was like, oh, let's raid the Capitol, let's do it. Except for all of the people who we all knew there was something wrong with them. They had brand. I literally saw a dude who had a Trump hat on that still had the tag on it. And they were in groups. And they were dressed similarly. That was a whole... I remember actually talking with a friend of mine who I was there talking with, who is ex-CIA, and he literally said, nope, those are agents. They know, because remember, the CIA is an organization. You can recognize organized tactics. In fact, if you're in the military, or you were in the CIA or FBI or something, you're trained in that organizational response or procedure. And as soon as you're actually trained on it, you can look at it and go, yeah, those are agents. Because you know this might sound weird. CIA, FBI, all of these three-letter agencies, when they're in a group, the easiest way to actually tell who they are, and this is going to sound weird, is how they walk as a group. It's very obvious because the CIA trained you in an operation like this how to walk as a group. And if you know that organization, you can literally recognize it. So basically, what am I saying here, guys? Very simply, the Federal Reserve is a criminal entity. A lot of the federal government is a criminal entity. The CIA is a criminal organization that was created to conduct criminal operations. Look at what JFK said. JFK wanted to shatter the CIA into 1 million pieces. And unfortunately, about a month and a half later, he got a bad fucking case of lead poisoning right in the middle of Dallas. This whole, since the Civil War, and some of you have watched my episodes on the Civil War and what it was really about. Since the Civil War and the Reconstruction phase after the Civil War, they weren't building bridges. It was the reorganization of the federal government, because we went from these United States to the United States. These and the. See, these means decentralized multiple states. The United States is an entity that resides in Washington, D.C. Completely two completely different organizations. That's what Reconstruction was about. They wanted to get rid of what is called common law and replace it with civil law. Civil law is corporate legislative law, civil law. That's why we are known as civilians, because we aren't employed from the government. Those who are employed by the corporation known as the United States of America, those are employees of the corporation. We, civilians, we are property of the United States of America. Now, let me explain how. Because legal civil law resides on top of what we call maritime law, right? That's why everything's a ship, right? Citizenship, partnership, because everything corporate is actually based on maritime law. That's why when you go into court, the door that you walk through, that is you entering the ship. And as soon as you enter the ship, you are legally referred to as non-living cargo. That's why you're on the docket. Anyone who knows on shipping, what's a docket? It's a list of inventory, not humans. All right? And that nice little wooden door, which always has to be wooden, that's a whole nother topic. It has, when you cross over that, you are crossing the bar of the ship. And you enter the ship through the bar. Only the lawyers and the judges and everyone who is a member of the what? The bar are legal sovereign entities on the ship. Everything else is a product, is a commodity. You are a commodity in a court of civil law. Guys, Trump is not tweaking the system. He isn't slightly going to alter it. No. His goal, and many others' goal, is to return to natural law, where every one of us are sovereign. If you really want to piss off the government, claim you're a sovereign citizen. See how quickly they flip the shit out and they come after you, because they can't let that ever get to court. You've never seen one sovereign citizen ever prosecuted because they're claiming sovereign citizenship. They pile so many other charges on you. They're like, you did this, you sneezed to the left when regulations were you should have sneezed to the right. Because they don't want that sovereign citizen challenge in their court. Because there's a way of entering into the court and retaining your sovereign citizen legal organization, entity. But they can't let you do that. That's why, and look this up, right? Jury nullification is actually based on sovereign citizenship. Look up jury nullification. Did you know every jury in the jury is a judge? They are legally equal to the judge. Did you know a jury can eliminate a law? Yep. Because the jury is a group of 10 or 12 judges, and they judge the law. That's what they're there for. They're to judge the law against the rights of the accused. That's their first job. Their first job is to see if there's even jurisdiction of prosecution. Well, if you're a sovereign citizen and you cross the bar retaining your sovereign citizenship, the ship has no authority over you. You are a sovereign, like a king, right? That's why everyone who has like large ships or even has a captain's license, that's why you can marry people, because you are the sovereign of the ship. You actually make the laws of the ship. See, this is all created illusion. All of this. This is created illusion because they have educated you into their system. And they assume authority over you. The day you're born, right? When your mom and your dad sign your, what is it? It's a birth certificate. What do you do with a ship when you send it out into the water for the first time? That's actually called birthing the ship. And they hit it with a thing of champagne. Why? Because you're breaking the water. Sounds a whole lot like giving birth, doesn't it? This is all absolute lies, guys. All of this. The federal government does not have the authority they claim to have. The courts do not have the authority they claim to have. They just assume authority over you, and then you, because you're uneducated, you have no idea what the hell's going on, you think that you're going to get a fair trial. No. Why is it when you go to court, they will issue you a lawyer for free? All right? They say we have a right to an attorney. Well, apparently, according to the Constitution, I have a right to the Second Amendment. I don't see them handing out fucking free guns. Why do you have a right to a lawyer? That's right, because the lawyer is part of the bar. They're an officer of the what? Court. So, do they work for you? No. No, they don't. They give you the illusion of working for you inside the system of the court. Oh, yeah, we are definitely going to get you off. What we're going to do is we're not going to admit that the authorities are wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to charge you with the lesser offense. Wait, so you can swap out charges? Yeah. If we give you a ticket, we'll knock it down to a non-moving violation. What? So you can choose which law you say I broke? Yeah. Oh. And remember, the prosecutors, what is called prosecutorial prosecutorial judgment or something like that. There's like a legal term for it, but I can't remember it. They can choose whether or not to charge you. Is it a law or is it not a law? If it's a law, why do they have a choice what to choose you with? Doesn't that leave it up to the opinion or the agenda of the prosecutor? So it's all actually based on an opinion. And if it's an opinion, then it can be used to manipulate the person they're charging, which I just explained. Hey, look, I'll tell you what, if you don't really kind of fight us on this, if you don't make us work, we'll knock it down to a lesser charge. You pay a little extra money, and we all just kind of forget this all happened. So are they searching for justice or are they searching for money? Or, which I think, they're making sure they have and retain their illusion of authority. Because remember what I have said about the Federal Reserve. How many people think the Federal Reserve is in it for the money? Do you think the people that run the Federal Reserve and own the Federal Reserve, do you think they're in it for the money? Why? Because they print the money. They are the makers of the money. If they were in it for the money, don't you think that that's kind of weird? They can print up as much. Now, remember, this is why so many people have said, audit the Fed. How much money have they really printed or created out of thin air? Remember, Elon Musk told us that he had found 10 computers that had the authority to create money out of thin air over a bunch of government agencies. Huh? Wait. So not only is the Federal Reserve printing up a bunch of invisible, useless dollars, the agencies have the ability to just print up money. So how do we know what the value of the dollar is if we have no idea what the number in existence? Don't trust the M2 or M3 or M4. Why? Because who's creating it? The people that are trying to screw you and kill you. Look what RFK is actually talking about right now and what Trump actually put out on Truth Social. Something about vaccines. I don't know. I'm sure that vaccines are perfectly safe. Perfectly safe. There's no link between the vaccine and all of the autism and cancer rates jumping, no matter, although the rise of vaccines and the rise of all of the illnesses are exactly the same chart. Not to see there, folks. So what am I trying to say? It's very simple, folks. We finally have a president and a group of his friends who know that this system in the late actually earlier than that, 1845-ish, when they were really pushing for the Civil War, this was a created system. This was a slavery system that was created to enslave us and to manipulate us. That's all it is. And finally, because guys, this is just the beginning. Right? We just received another announcement from a government over in the Middle East. I cannot remember the name of it. It's a new one. Yesterday was Kazakhstan. Right. Yesterday was Kazakhstan. This morning, another K-Stan announced they're launching a Bitcoin reserve. What I find interesting is these are the same government officials who about 3 months ago, they met with the president of El Salvador. I'm sure it's nothing. And yesterday, the president of El Salvador put out an X or a tweet, whatever the hell you call it nowadays. It said, "Get ready." Buckle up, Buttercup. I don't know about you, but I've watched what he says on X. He doesn't really put out those types of messages. He's a president of probably the safest country in the world. And he puts out a tweet, "Buckle up, Buttercup." And then we have all of these announcements of all of these countries. Look what's going on in France right now. They outlawed social media for the whole country of France. What happened? Look at it this morning. The Parliament building is on fire. The people set the building on fire. The politicians had to be evacuated by helicopter. This ain't looking good, folks. It ain't look. I think it's France. I'm pretty sure it's France. No, it was France is actually collapsing. Don't get me wrong. Just it was another country, and I can't remember the name of the country, but it was relevant. Right? And then the people, after the prime minister resigned, what did they do? They literally took him out in the streets, ripped off all of his clothing, and made him walk down this like a river, nude. I think they're pissed. Folks, this is a global revolution. And we, luckily, here in America, it's a system revolution. It's a system, shall we call it, reconstruction phase. Because in the late 1800s, they reconstructed America into a socialist, communist entity. Well, Trump is getting rid of that entity. That includes the Federal Reserve. And what's Trump telling you? What are his children saying? What are all of the people in the administration saying? Easy. Bitcoin. Why? Because it's the only ledger of truth in the world. I've had people ask, why is the price of gold going up? My God, it's going up so much. Is it really? Here, we have, oh, hang on a second. We have at the most, we have 21 million Bitcoin. Over here, how many ounces of gold do we have? That's a question mark. That translates into any language as I don't have a fucking clue. How can you have a price when you don't have a number of the product that you're trying to price? Because price is what? Supply and demand. Well, if you don't have a number of supply, how do you set a price? Because what you do is you, in an evil authoritarian system, you create what are called derivatives. And you sell a bunch of derivatives. And that's what we are at war with right now. We remember 2017 or 18, I can't remember what, when all of a sudden they approved a futures market on the Bitcoin. Now, mind you, they did not have a spot market, but they sold a futures on the Bitcoin. Why did they do that? For the first time in history, they created a futures market on a commodity that did not have a recognized spot market. Why? So they could push the price down artificially using futures leverage. They know exactly what this is. This is the cure to the disease that has plagued America for the last 100 and whatever years. This is the cure. And that's what people are starting to realize. That's what all of these, because all of these countries, all they want to know is there a truthful currency? Is there something that we can hold and actually hold it ourselves in our country? They got Bitcoin. Folks, the future of the world is decentralized. This is the biggest revolution in human history. This revolution, this transition into a new decentralized globe with the Bitcoin and cryptos and all of these digital currencies. This is a larger revolution than 1776 because this is all over the globe. And it's happening quicker because all of the changes, or the majority of the changes, are digital. We no longer need the Federal Reserve when you have the Bitcoin. You don't need it. With the Bitcoin, you are your own bank. You are your own bank. And the Bitcoin is the global reserve. And we'll only have 21 million. And to be honest, about 6 million of those are lost. So we only got maybe 15 million in existence? And fucking Michael Saylor owns almost 700,000 of those. That guy will own his own planet someday. I don't know if he's going to buy Mars or where, but he'll have the money to do it. Because the whole world, remember right now, think about this, guys, let this sink in. 1% of the world knows or owns some Bitcoin. 1%. We have 99% of appreciation left in Bitcoin. And remember, the Bitcoin is a multiplier. Every time it goes up $1, that multiplies into the available number of the Bitcoin. So when it goes up $1, approximately 19,800,000 and something $1,000 are created in value every time the price goes up $1, because it's a locked supply, which means it's an amplifier. Each $1 that the price goes up represents about 19 million and some change rise in market cap. Let that sink in. And that's why we here at my club, that's why we offer loans. We offer programs where you can refinance your house and you can actually capture that equity and roll it into Bitcoin. So you actually capture the current equity in your house. Do you think housing is going up or down? In real terms, not inflationary notes, in real purchasing price. No, it's going down. Because while the dollar value goes up, the utility value of the house hasn't changed. You didn't add on a west wing. No. So, if you guys watching right now, if you have equity in your house, give us a call. Guys, this is the opportunity of the universe. I don't know, whatever the biggest fucking thing is. Heaven, God. This is God giving us a gift. Here you go, guys. Sorry, they kind of fucked you. Here's a life raft. We can get you a home equity loan against your home equity and get you some Bitcoin, which is you capture that appreciation. And do you think about this, guys, it's a home equity loan. You can get a 30-year home equity loan. How much is Bitcoin going to be worth in 30 years? Yeah. That's why you should give us a call at our new telephone number, because it's easier for me to say and everything revolves around me. 941-413-8080. 8080. 941, hang on a second. 941-413-8080. Oh, shit, I might have to change it again. I'm starting to fucking kind of stumble on this one. I'll tell you what, we will keep it, and I'll just hold up a sign that says 8080. There you go. 941-413-8080. Give us a call. We can get you a loan on credit, a non-secured loan. We can get you a non-secured loan and get you some Bitcoin, or we can help you hold on to your equity gains and roll that into the one and only Bitcoin. All right, guys, 941-413-8080, 8080. Everyone, have a great day. I'm off to El Salvador. They're doing a lot of great things down there. See you guys. I won't see you tomorrow. I'm actually going to have Sherpa shoot the show tomorrow, since I will be flying to El Salvador. Hey, Sherpa, by the way, you're shooting the show tomorrow. Yeah. That's right. See, we plan ahead here at the Bitcoin Ben Show. Everyone have a great day. I love you guys, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.